headphones, guys. I gotta shut this fucker off.
Welcome to this week's show of the Crazy Gentleman Podcast. I am your host, the Crazy Gentleman. And this week's show is brought to you by Simbita_custom knives. No, Simbita_custom_knives on Instagram. SimbitaCustomKnives.com for the finest quality hunting, kitchen cutlery, and outdoor knives that you could think of. Whatever you could dream up, Evan can make it. Hit him up, tell him I sent you. Also brought to you by Lexan-Moto.com, home of the highest quality audio inside your helmet for all of the finest riding experiences. Maybe you're listening to this in your helmet, maybe you're listening to a concert, who knows? You can do it with Lexan. Punch in the code word crazy at checkout for 15% off. Also brought to you by Bare Knuckle Performance, bareknuckleperformance.com for all of the highest quality audio, no, not audio, oh my god, my head's fucking spinning, this is number 4 today, for all of the highest quality parts made in America for your Harley Davidson and now Indians. Hit them up, man. FXRs, Dynas, choppers, baggers.
We can attest to
newer
that.
Softails. Tony will tell you, dude, his parts are in the display cabinets right now.
Absolutely. Got a bunch of them right out front, man. Good
Hell
shit.
yeah, dude. Best in the business. Also brought to you by the BumpShopBackroom.com. It's the only place you can get the Crazy Gentleman merch right now. And also check out Rodney's Badass Vintage Finds. Also check out the Hardtail Blend of Coffee now. And hit up the Bump Shop Diaries on Instagram. And a huge thank you, as usual, to my producer, Whiskey Eye. And that's it, man. Welcome to sunny Phoenix, Arizona. We're here at Ramjet Racing.
Thanks for having me,
Retailer
man.
of Bare Knuckle Performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lexan. Both their stuff, man.
Yeah, and Lexan?
Absolutely. Got a bunch of it right there.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, dude, want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Tony from Ramjets. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a big shop out here in Phoenix. Love to have everybody buy when they're in Arizona or check us out online.
Yeah, dude, this is, I piss a lot of people off sometimes when I say certain things, but I don't care. I'll say it. This place is like king of the hill for retail when it comes to custom Harleys, man.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Really, one of the premier shops in the country.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. What was like the, so you said your dad has a hot rod shop.
He does.
Was your dad, you said like your dad, I don't know, is it called Ramjet Hot Rods also?
Ramjet Speed Shop.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so that's technically what your dad started?
Yeah,
And
Dad
you
started drag
motorcycles?
racing, building race cars, boats way back in the day. Motorcycles was a thing of passion, right? Never want to make it business, and then slowly transitioned that. Maybe we'll get into that later or whatever. But in turn, then Ramjet Racing Performance Cycles started, and that was in '93, and it's been going on since. And then about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, probably 12 years ago or something, I ended up taking over, and I ended up moving the business over here. And in the midst of that, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, he opened up Ramjet Speed Shop again to go back into race cars and hot rods, doing what he likes to do. So he does all the go fast stuff on 4 wheels, and we do it on 2 wheels.
Cool, man. I'm assuming, so you said your dad was a biker also?
Yeah, oh yeah, for the whole life.
Cool. Always Harleys?
Yeah.
Drag race those too?
Yeah, a little bit. And then most of it was always in cars, though, as far as the racing goes. And then it was always cool street bikes and hot rods and, things like that.
Cool. What does the name Ramjet mean?
It's actually a nickname my dad got. So there's a cartoon Roger Ramjet from a while ago, and the guy's going 100 miles an hour all the time. And that's the nickname that stuck with my pop. And then Ramjet was his nickname, and then it was Ramjet Racing, and then Ramjet Racing Performance Cycles. So that's
Awesome.
it, just from the nickname from little speedy guy in the cartoon.
Cool. I never heard of that one. I'm going to Google him. I'll Google Roger Ramjet after this. That's pretty cool. So are you still into cars too?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely like the cars and always been into that for sure, but motorcycles are my main deal.
Yeah. What kind of cars? Muscle cars?
Yeah,
or
more like
older
that,
hot
you know?
rods?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
I mean, I like kind of anything that looks cool. You can customize, goes fast, whatever. But more muscle car stuff and classics. You know what I mean? That's really what I like.
Cool. Cool. What's in the garage right now?
Nothing right now.
Oh,
Too many
okay.
Harleys. Too many Harleys right now. But
Okay.
I got a lot of those projects. Pop's got all the hot rods. He's got a whole fucking warehouse stashed of them.
Yeah. So I guess you can take one of his anytime?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Does Dad still ride?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a shovel head of his here. He's got a Borgette Evo. He's got a bagger. We do a bunch of stuff too recently. It's actually here in the showroom too. He's got to come pick up. So he rides all the time. Rides back and forth to Sturgis, and he's 69, man. He's still kicking ass.
Cool. Does he go as new as M8s, or is he like...
Twin cam's the newest one so far. He'll get on it, but you know, he still not even turn his radio on and shit. He likes to go fast and have a good time, but he can't even figure out how to turn the stereo on his current bike. So M8's some of the new technology trip him out a little bit, you know.
Yep. I'm assuming at this point he kind of just like probably hands them over to you and you do most of the wrenching.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that happens now. He just drops it off and says, "Tony, do all this," you know? Or I just do my own thing and give it back to him, you know.
Right. That's cool, man. Damn, I just had a question in my head before that. Whatever. We'll get back to it. I see the hamster stuff here.
Yeah.
That's pretty exclusive stuff, man.
I was pretty fortunate. I got part of the hamsters this past year in 2022.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
That's cool. Are there a lot of hamsters in Arizona area?
There's quite a bit, yeah. I don't know exactly how many, but there's a decent amount. I mean, there's a lot of pretty involved people in the motorcycle industry here, you know?
They're pretty much an even spread throughout the country, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain states that are stronger, you know what I mean? Like, as far as numbers go, just as how many there are. You know, Arizona's got a handful, California's got a lot, Minnesota, quite a bit, you know, South Dakota, too. Those are kind of like your biggest states that have the most amount, I'd say.
Okay.
Just where most of the strong motorcycle involvement is, or you know, industry people are, or whatever, and that's kind of what it seems to be composed of, most of.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I got so many questions about that, but I don't even know if I'm allowed to ask about that.
Ask away, man. Feel free.
Like, how did you get involved with the hamsters? Is it like, is it something that you seeked out, or is that something that they seek you out at this point?
It's kind of both, I guess. You know.
Okay. I feel like that's like the Masonic secret organization of the motorcycle world.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, maybe so. You know,
like,
it's the deal with the hamsters. It's custom motorcycles camaraderie.
Okay.
You gotta, you know, be into motorcycles, like motorcycles, have motorcycles, or custom ones more so, and be a good person, help people, and that's kind of it. You know what I mean? And all the people that are in it are mostly motorcycle industry people. You know, and people I've known for a long time, and it just kind of came about to where more and more you're around and seeing each other and doing things, and then that's always been an intriguing thing, just because of them. Like, some of my biggest idols in the industry were always that, you know what I mean? And it just kind of happens, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. I'm very thankful for it. There's a lot of amazing things that the hamsters do for kids too, which is like the best thing about it. I mean, last year at a dinner in Sturgis, we raised almost $600,000 for Lifescape Foundation in one dinner. Just with, I think there's like 500 in some of us, and we raised like almost $600,000 for Lifescape. Yeah, I met a little girl that learned how to walk from like the contributions that over the years we were able to give Lifescape, and give them the equipment and the personnel and the resources. So like their family is up there, and it was amazing. Everybody's in there, you know, dropping their sunglasses down at night. They're starting to tear up a little bit, but it's a pretty cool deal, man. I was very thankful to be there and just be a part of it in general.
Wow, yeah, that is pretty cool. I would assume then, like, damn, I didn't realize that that's kind of what the hamsters were about. That's like, I would imagine you guys raise over $1 million a year then, if just in one dinner. You know, you figure even the smaller ones, 50 grand, 100 grand.
Easy,
you're at $1 million a year.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
really
of it goes
awesome.
to Lifescape, and then any type of good foundation for kids, and then for the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum, you know, out there in Sturgis.
Right.
A lot of contributions go to that too, to make sure that keeps going well and everything.
Cool. I'll just hit you with a random question. What's your favorite motorcycle?
Like that's a rough one to answer. Like
That's a T-Sport you're wheeling in that picture, right?
that's a FXR.
Oh, okay.
So if you're going for like that down to that, like FXR for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I'm an FXR guy big time.
Okay.
I didn't know how specific you're getting with it, right? You know, but FXRs are like my favorite by far.
Okay.
By far.
Sweet, man.
But I like them all. I mean, I grew up riding a lot of moto and stuff, so I like dirt bikes. I like some metric bikes, you know what I mean? But Harleys are my number one by far, and then of that, FXRs for sure.
Same here, FXRs.
Right?
King of the hill for me. And I know they're very addictive. People wind up having a lot of them.
Yeah.
How many do you currently have?
I think I have 3 FXR projects, and 1 running.
Okay. Is that the runner still?
No.
Okay.
That's back down to a project.
Okay.
Then I've got a couple other. And then that golden out front's mine that's up.
That's super flashy one with the panel paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's normally not even like my style on an FXR. Love panel paint on certain bikes and applications, you know, but sometimes I don't like how it gets. Recently, I would say more in the past like 5 or 10 years, it got overplayed on like a lot of that style bike, you know, like a performance application, and some people drowned out a shitty project in high dollar paint, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or high dollar looking paint from afar. But Hot Dog painted that one, and a friend of mine in Northern California actually built that bike. I didn't even build it, but he put it up for sale, and we did a thunderheader for him that we chopped and shortened it and built a bracket for it like, man, 8 years ago or something. And did it up, sent it out to him, and then when he put the bike up for sale, like I couldn't say no. I had to snag it off of him, you know. And that one, the paint's so good, and Hot Dog did such a good job on that thing. I got to run it as is, you know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, I feel like the panel paint, I mean, eventually, like, its day would come. Like, you've seen a zillion trends come and go.
Sure.
I don't know if that one will ever go.
No, for sure. I mean, like,
but
you get a chopper or something, a panel paint job looks killer, a lowrider car or something like that, it always still looks good. I like it.
Yeah. But
I think it just gets overdone on, you know, your FXR Dyner or performance bagger type bike.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen the pinnacle of it. I almost think like we're right now in some sort of a transitionary period. Like, I don't even know if anyone's really started the new style yet, you know, but like, I feel like we're due for some sort of a new style at this point. I don't know what it'll be, but
I like less is more always.
Right.
I'm always a less is more guy. I like OEM type paint jobs or very simple shit that's not all you're staring at, like a big glitter biscuit that you know, you can't notice. It takes away from all the other stuff that was not done properly or ugly or clean or poor routing of things, and you can't even pay attention to it because all this flashy stuff shining at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think a less is more usually. Like, I mean, even bikes are just one simple color. I like a little more depth to it at most time. But you know, like my favorite paints are always just like I think it's undeniable that stock Harley FXR paint jobs are still the most killer paint jobs ever.
Yeah.
You know, and if you just throw a little spice on those by matching other parts that they didn't have painted from the beginning, and just the bike flows together so good and it looks clean, and that's timeless. Those will never go out of style in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly how I feel about motorcycles, man. To me, the paint is the least important part of the bike.
Ironically, it's the only thing you can like takes the longest to figure out and never can decide on though, you know?
Yeah, and it's expensive as shit.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, to me, you know, you could have a $20,000 paint job. If it's on a garbage bike, it doesn't make the bike any better.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely not. It's almost worse.
Yeah, it is almost worse. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the OEM stuff. Speaking of OEM, man, are you into the FXR4s? I call them like that whole 90s style.
Of course, yeah, they look like the American Spirit package, man. All about it, yeah.
Yep.
We do those quite a bit here. You know, we'll get them. We'll either keep the OEM paint and match some stuff like other sheet metal parts to match that OEM, you know, either the yellow or the orange, right? Yep. But then clean them up a little bit to make it like a modern classic, if you will. So it's still got like, it's authentic to what it is, not too far out of it, but then just make them a little better with newer products that are out and available without totally drastically changing it. And I like those a lot. You know, it was the first year in 2000 where they did they have the, you know, they got the better hand controls. They went to sealed wheel bearing wheels. They got the late model lowers, and they got, you know, the chrome swing arm. There's a lot of cool shit about them. I think they're excellent base, and it's hard to get rid of the paint being they only made, you know, like 600 of the one and I think maybe 4 or something of the other.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like at the same time, like you don't want to be rocking canary yellow or whatever all the time. You know what I mean? So I get it.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like at this point, I've always liked them anyway. But at this point, man, it's like the '90s are back. So you know.
Sure. I like it. I think it'd be ideal if we could have all of them, right? If you could have both the OEM ones, then a couple just like them that you spiced up a little bit too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, guys are starting to spice them up and stuff, but which is cool too because it makes the OEM ones like worth a little more, I guess, you know. But yeah, they're cool, man. They're my favorite FXR. So those FXR 4s.
I think my favorite one's that '93 Vert, the black with the orange and yellow stripe.
Yep.
With the the simple Vert logo on it, with the browns in it. I mean, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's a hard bike to beat too, man.
It's like so good, just all black with some chrome covers and accessories and shit like that. Like,
yeah,
man, that thing looks so good all the time.
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one to beat. Do you get into Dynas at all?
A little bit. I mean, we do a lot of them here, obviously. You know what I mean? I like the early 2000s ones the most, if you will. Like I had a Dyna recently that I just sold like maybe a year ago, and it was a nice bike, favorite Dyna I've ever had, and I normally don't like Dynas. I'm not a Dyna guy, just because the shit chassis design and the handling and stability they have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What it takes to make them like really rip and run good, you got to put so much into it. Where you can take a fucking a bagger or an FXR that's 25 years old and just put some minor suspension upgrades and swap some motor mounts out and do a couple basic things, and the bike's handled amazing in comparison to a Dyna that's got 10 grand into all kinds of upgrades, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So not my favorite, but there's definitely some things you can do to them to make them better, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So like being that like this is like King of the Hill in terms of, retail size, performance shop, you guys are cranking fucking bikes out. Everything from choppers to baggers, I mean, there's everything here. What does the climb look like? Like from the beginnings of starting the motorcycle side of things, like was there years where it was just you?
No, it was my dad. So I was just like a little kid running around like sweeping floors, doing stuff like that, you know what I mean? He was the one doing stuff, and a couple of our guys that are still here, Jerry from one of them, he's awesome. He's been with us for 23 years now or something. And that was when we opened our first like retail storefront, I should say. That was in a commercial space, because the first like 7 years of it, my dad was doing in the back of his shop at his house. It was a good shop, and he still had like a retail showroom, and it was definitely legit for an at-home shop. It wasn't like just a little garage with a couple bike lifts, you know what I mean? It was a legit shop there. But in 2000 they moved over there, and what we really focused on then was building bikes. We would just do custom builds. But in doing that, as you build bikes, then years go down the road, they need maintenance, they need service, they need parts, they want to change stuff. So then we started carrying more product and offering more, and then people that we'd do a bike for bring their buddy in that just wanted to spice theirs up or do something different to it, or to make some performance upgrades or whatever. So then we'd start focusing more into that, and then doing some more service and things like that. So the business slowly transitioned from doing like bike builds primarily to working on bikes and customizing them or servicing them or selling just retail parts over the counter, and it's just constantly been morphing more and more and more towards that. And then just in the past handful of years, and we start making some of our own products, and that's kind of the focal point now, is trying to scale more on that.
Cool. Did you ever get really into the choppers? Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
they're here as customer bikes, but for you personally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first bike was a rigid kick-only 4-speed shovel.
Cool.
And I still you always have chopper fever. I don't care who you are. I think I got it always burned in the back. I got one out there, and I got another project I'm working on with one of those too. And I that's probably my favorite. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But every time I can't wait to go ride one and kick it over and ride a couple miles down the road. I'm like, fuck, man, where's my FXR or my bagger? After you hit some big bump and jar your back or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I kind of miss one of those.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 32. 33.
Oh, you're 33?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so much younger than I thought. Oh, dude, you got years of rigid in you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
I still bring them out, but just not as often, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Sturgis, we bring choppers there, but I ride my bagger there. You know what I mean? And then
Okay.
I can cruise around on the chopper after the fact.
Yeah. What kind of bagger do you have?
I got a Road King
M8 or twin cam?
M8.
Okay.
M8.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it's doesn't look like a Road King. I've got it's got Rebuffini front end and our wheels, and it's got a Road Warrior fairing. We did like a custom nacelle that has like off-road rigid industry lights in it, and billet subframe and billet swing arm, and lightened it up a bunch, carbon parts, things like that. So it's like a big FXR pretty much, you know what I mean?
Damn. Do you guys have any sort of like involvement in the Bagger Racing League or any drag racing team or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, we used to have some bikes that we ran, just more like exhibition-wise, nothing professional, but no longer anymore.
Okay. Growing up in, like you said, your dad was into racing and everything. Like, was there a local drag strip that you remember being at as a kid?
Oh yeah,
and stuff
Firebird
like
Raceway down here. Now it's called fuck's it called now? Wild Horse Pass, I think. It used to be called Firebird. Like, yeah, I spent lots of time there with him for sure. Like, I was there all the time as a little kid. I'd be there in the stroller with him covering my ears up, and all the funny cars would go by and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I was there constantly.
That's awesome, man. Damn, 32. I was gonna ask you what the chopper boom was like here, but like, I guess you caught it, right? I mean, you were as a kid, even still, you had to have seen it around with your dad and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean,
the chopper boom in Phoenix, I always thought of as like the wildest chopper boom part of the country.
yeah, it depends too what kind of chopper you're talking about. It's like there's
Like the early 2000s, like that boom.
yeah, like the pro street chopper boom stuff, and like when it go into like start getting into the bigger tires, and after the pro street stuff, I'm sorry, and then you go to the bigger tire stuff and things like that.
2010 to 2000. Like
Yeah.
that 10-year.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when it first started getting super big, and people were on, TV making big money and making really big names for themselves out of it and stuff, and it was nuts out here. I mean, that was where, like I said, in 2000 when we opened our first retail location, like that's what we geared it towards, and it was like we set it up. It was cool. Like now we have all kinds of variety of shit, right? Before, like we had a lot of variety, but like it was different, man. After this, I'll show you some cool pictures and stuff of the shop. We had like a whole wall of motors, trannies, belt drives, whole walls of wheels, front end racks with front ends on them, frames lined up in the middle of the showroom, and you could like walk in, we could like build you a bike. Damn. And you could come pick it up in 3 or 6 months later, depending on what you did to it. Like it was just, you could pick out your, if you want this Paco frame or a Bourget frame with a swing arm on it, if you want an S&S motor or a RevTech motor, if you want a 5-speed, a 6-speed, you want a Kickstarter, electric, whatever you needed. And we had all that stuff you could pick out there, and billet wheels over the wall, and we had all the, thunder headers and drag pipes and bub racing pipes, all kinds of shit sitting on the wall. It was pretty slick, man. It was
did you guys even like for this business, was that even the peak for you guys? Because we're in a pretty good swing right now.
No, I mean, this is our I mean, we're always getting bigger and busier and doing more, you know what I mean? But then it was a lot it was a lot more cake work then, you know what I mean? There wasn't so many variables. Like you were literally working your custom bike was like, you were working with like, obviously you had vintage stuff still you were doing but like if you're just your conventional like kit build, if you will, it was a shovel head or an Evo, and it was, most of them were in a soft tail platform, you know what I mean?
Right.
So whether it was rigid or not, but that was just a rigid mounted powertrain. And it was kind of cake work, and margins were huge then, an S&S motor was like 10 or 11 grand, you'd pay 5 for them, and now you make $1,000 on one if you're lucky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's totally different then. And I think that's one of the reasons, it boomed real big too, and it was packed here in Arizona with that too. I mean, it was kind of like, I think one of the forefronts of it, seems like we were in Arizona, it was like, that was the biggest start of that type of genre or whatever,
Yeah. This is one part of the country I kind of get a kick at. Like, you don't see those early 2000s bikes around the country anymore, but you still see them in parts of Florida and Phoenix.
Right.
Like, they just never
there's so many of them here and there, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that, because it's not as common by any means. It was just there was so, like, now in comparison to like stock Harleys or Harleys that are heavily modified into whether it's just something that's, you know, still with a bigger wheel, or if it's a performance oriented one or a chopper or whatever, old school chopper, doesn't matter. But there's just so many of them here that were built here, and like, you know, the market for them is awful now.
Right.
Guys that pay 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 grand in these things, they can't get 10, 15 grand for them, which is a bummer, you know, but it is what it is. You can part them out for more than that. I mean, the motor's still worth half that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Like, guys are just buying them for drivetrains.
Sure. Yeah, the guys that score good, other guys buy like Titans because those things are worth like 5 or 6 grand, but it's got a fucking rubber mounted power, it's an FXR setup.
Oh,
so
really?
you get they come with a Suriani inverted front end or something, and then they have a big inch SNS motor, a 6-speed tranny, usually a killer clutch or something like that. You know what I mean? The whole bike you get for 5 or 6 grand, and the motor's worth that alone.
Damn, I gotta look for those.
Yeah, the Titans of the score, man. Because they had ones that were rigid mounted like a Softail, but they had the rubber mounted ones. So they had an FXR primary, FXR tranny, all that.
Sick. I'm gonna keep my eye out.
That's the score, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did you ever have like any wide tire bikes? Like,
Not really, no.
Really hit you?
I never had anything like that. I was always either choppers or FXRs or dynos.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I rode a lot of dirt bikes, so I always like, even the choppers, I like because they're fucking rad, you know, and they have so much expression, the things you can do and stuff like that. But when it comes to physically riding one, like, I want to be able to enjoy when I'm riding and not be like able to ride the way I want to ride just because the bike physically won't allow me to, you know? Right. So having something that is like a huge front tire or a big fat rear tire that's rear steering you in a corner and it can't lean over, or is dragging everything every time you barely take a turn, doesn't seem exciting to me at all.
Right. Yeah, once you get an FXR bug, man, it's like,
yeah, you get that itch, it doesn't go away.
Yeah,
you're pretty much stuck
like
with it for good.
Spoiled for life. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
That's a tough one to itch. I rode rigids forever, man, and I'll never forget the first FXR I rode, dude.
Like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Yeah,
that's good.
It was like this whole new world opened up.
Right.
You know? It was crazy, dude. I rode it straight across this dude's lawn and jumped off the curb. I thought I was on a fucking Harley dirt bike at that time. And
sure.
It wasn't. It was set up like a 90s bike, you know?
Sure.
With forwards on it and shit.
Uh-huh.
But even compared to the rigids that I had been riding, I was like, this is crazy, dude.
That's funny.
Yeah. Do you remember the first real motorcycle ride you took? Like when you were an adult and you could legally do it? Or even as a kid, like, did you steal your dad's bike when you were like 14?
Yeah, for sure. I almost crashed. He had actually, him and Roger Bourget were like working together, and he had like the number 2 Bourget frame in Arizona, and he
were they aluminum back then?
No, they're steel.
Okay.
But yeah, he was like out of town or something like that, and I fucking fired. I was this big old gnarly 113 in it, and forward controls I couldn't reach, and I went fucking ripping down the street, and I almost took it out for sure. But I made it back luckily, and he didn't know about it, you know what I mean, until years later, you know. But that was probably the first time I went and ripped like a Harley by myself. But I was like, I don't know, maybe 13 or 12 or something like that. But I've been riding motorcycles since like 4. Like dirt bikes.
Do you have an actual motorcycle license now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, now I mean, I got a business and I got to test ride customers' bikes. So I get jammed up. I got to do, like, you know, I definitely got to have one now.
Dude, so. Even the business owners, it's amazing.
Most people don't have one. I know so many. Yeah,
crazy.
So many people have been riding for like 20, 30 years, like on the street every day, and they still don't have one.
Yeah, I'm amazed by that. It's so crazy. This is a question I just started asking. I'm doing so many FXR shows lately. FXR. If you were just set up the perfect FXR drivetrain wise, like are you Evo twin cam M8 kind of guy, shovel head? What's like your setup?
That's hard to say, because I like them all. You know, I would probably say like.
And budget's no budget, like just anything.
I like when they're super clean. So one thing I like are M8s or late model twin cams in them, because there's no oil lines exposed. There's the internal pass through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have a pan underneath, so I think it just looks really clean and naked. because like I said, I like a less is more looking approach. So just like when you put a late model twin cam in one, how clean and simple they look. You kind of make them look like a sleeper too. I like when you even have just stock twin cam covers, nothing crazy, and just, you know, build the motor appropriately with a quality crank and cam chest and some cams and whatever, and get it dialed in. But that and just like an OEM looking powertrain. I like stock tins, wheels maybe if you go, but nothing too out of control and loud, you know, like either I like running aftermarket ones because I always like running 18 in the rear, you know, but simple straight spokes, or like our Ramjet wheels are just, they call it, they're slanted 5 spokes, so it just kind of looks like it's going fast, but nothing too out of control. And then just tall and skinny. That's my favorite, just simple and easy, you know. I like them without bags.
Small fairing like that?
Yeah, small fairings on them or none. I like them the way they look without them, but when you're riding, either going, I mean, without a fairing and anything over 100 miles fucking is awful. You know what I mean? You're just getting beat up, and you get handling instabilities because you're getting the wind deflection and all that. And then, so it's like after you put one on, you can't really take it off, you know, because you're not going to remove your fairing for, it's just for looks, right?
I don't want to spoil myself with fairing just yet.
Yeah.
Because I know it's like,
as soon as, you're not going to take it off. Like, it's a quick disconnect on a fairing is pointless, because you're never going to take the fucker off.
Yeah.
After you put it on, it's like saddlebags, you know. I mean, I can see that a little more because you can unclick them when you're riding around town. Yeah. But you always wish you could just toss your jacket in there instead of strapping this shit somewhere when you put them on, you know.
Yeah. So I got the bare knuckle bags on this bike and on my FXR. The only they stay on all the time, but the only reason I like them is, like you said, when you go to a hotel, it's nice to just unclip them and not be like, well, I should take this thing or this thing in for the night. Just like unclip them, bring the whole fucking box.
Sure.
You know.
My favorite bags of all time I had were, my wife got me these Moto Guzzi bags that were off of, I forgot what model Guzzi, but it's a briefcase bag, like the Hepco and Becker bags they did for the Buick Ulysses, you know what I'm talking about? Those hard ones? Yeah. The shit, but the Guzzi ones have painted panels on the side. Okay. So instead of just being that ugly texture where it's too off-roady looking, I like something cleaner looking. And they have a nice panel that you can go on and paint them. And those are the shit, because you build a hard rail for them so you can quick disconnect them, but they lock to the bike, the bag locks, they're waterproof. So you'd get to a hotel and you just unclick them and just walk in with your briefcases and then do your thing and then click them back on the bike and take off.
Yeah, that's the way to go, man. But you had to make custom mounts for that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something you had thought about offering?
No, because the bags are hard to get. Yeah, fuck it. My wife going to kill me one year for this. Actually, they're from, so she got them from Italy. Yeah. And ordered these fucking bags. Took months to get here. Surprised me. Got the panels custom painted. This candy finish to match my bike without me even knowing. Came home one day. She had dinner made for me, and these bags on the table and everything just totally surprised me. And I got them. I was stoked. Just like that next week, I had a friend help me, and we fabricated the brackets and put them on the bike. Got them powder coated. You know, they came back a couple weeks later, and then I went and did the test drive on them that day after I got them done. And went with a friend of mine, and we went and stopped by this bar around the corner. Just say hi to a friend there, and then go for a ride. But we ended up tying one off there, and I left there at like 2 in the morning. And I looped the wheelie out, and on the brand new bags, and I had them on for like 12 hours or whatever. And she came home from work, shut down. She was working at a bar at the time and shut this place down, and came home, and I was bent over the counter, and my buddy's scrubbing all the asphalt out of my back and my ass because all the road rash from me flipping it over, and the bags would look like you threw a hand grenade in the one side. She was pissed, man. It took her like a year to get them. So I got another set, but I've run them on a bike for a while. I got to put them on the next FXR project.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Dude, do you do any like stunt shows? Do you run with like a crew of stunt guys around here?
No.
Just fucking around on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I don't do like stunts or nothing like that. It's like once in a while. I don't even really do that anymore at all, but you know, just get a little aggressive sometimes you want to, and crack a wheelie or something, or break tire loose. That's it. I'm not like some crazy stunt. I can't do all that crazy shit. No. And I can't. Those guys are insane now, all the shit they can do on those. And
it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were younger too, were you into skateboards?
Yeah, clearly.
This is cool as shit, man.
That's how I kind of always grew up with skateboarding. You know, it was like my first passion, if you will, and motorcycles were always there. But was only riding dirt bikes once in a while when I was a kid, not doing that all day, every day. Skateboarding was that first.
Are any of these, besides this Darren McKeag one, were any of these others custom made just for you, or were these just like finds over the years?
A lot of them were finds, or like buddies I have like that are friends that, you know, went pro and I got their boards or whatever. But like that, Mikey from Oily did that one, and it wasn't for me. He just did it, and it was super tough, so I had to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This David Mann looking one is awesome.
Yeah, that's a Riley Hawk board actually.
Oh really? Cool.
But
what about the knuckle and the shovel head?
Man, those are Darkstar did a deal with Harley, and they did a bunch of Harley Davidson branded boards, and they did those two, and they had a panhead one that has like a red foil color to it with Ryan DeCenzo, and I've been trying to find that fucking skateboard for years, and I can't find it anywhere.
Damn. What is it called? Put it out in the comments.
Ryan DeCenzo. It's a panhead one that's red. Anybody finds that, call me. I'll pay you some money for it. Right. I've been looking for it forever.
I think so. That knucklehead one. I got a deck at home. A friend of mine's sister did a bunch of advertisement work and stuff like that for Harley, and particularly with this whole skateboard deal here. And I got a board with knucklehead grip tape, and I'm assuming it would be matching for that board.
Oh, that's rad. Like a bunch of little knuckle motors on it.
It's like in the back, you know how they'll do a strip sometimes, like through the grip tape, and you'll see a design, and there's a knuckle in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I even like, I had people like reach out that I knew like in the industry, try to get a hold of like Ryan DeCenzo to get one, and he couldn't even get a hold of one anymore. Yeah, I couldn't find him anywhere.
I'm gonna reach out to my friend and see what he's got kicking around.
Please do.
He's got like.
I know that Darkstar did a huge run with the Harley, and they still do, I think. I mean, I don't even know how many fucking boards they made with Harley, but they did a ton.
Darkstar, like the crank horse?
No, that's Dark Horse. Darkstar, it's a skateboard company, wheels, decks, things like that, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, they did a big collab with Harley for. I mean, I think they're still running it. They did quite a bit of them.
Cool. I see a Born Free board. You guys ever do a Born Free build?
We are doing, I haven't done a Born Free build. If we brought something there, we just did it. It wasn't for Born Free. It wasn't sanctioned by them or anything specifically for it. We brought something there. This year we're going, and we're setting up a booth actually. The first time we've done that, we've gone just to visit and hang out. Born Free was always, when I did go, it's kind of one of the things that I enjoyed going to and didn't want to work. It's like Sturgis for me, you know what I mean? We do so many bike events and just stuck there working the whole time. It was one that I always want to go enjoy.
Did you mean like Sturgis? You don't set up either. You just want to go to enjoy it.
Just go enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah. So this year we're doing Born Free. We're gonna set up there, have a booth. It's 2 days. You know, it's close also, but Sturgis is a big trek. It's it's like what 8 or 10 days or something like that. How long the event's going there, and it's already when you're there hanging out for 10 days, you can't even get to do all the things you want to do and see all the people you want to see. So I try to stay away from trying to work that.
Do you make sure you get to Sturgis every year? Like, is that a definite
Yes,
for you?
so far. I mean, it's only been about 4 years or something that I've been going.
Okay.
But just even though I've been around this like my whole life, I was always here working to make sure people have their bikes ready to go to Sturgis. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's the worst part about the motorcycle industry, man.
Right.
I never told you. I had a shop, and I literally I planned on it for like a month or two, like telling customers I'm done and everything else. Because I stopped living this life. I hated it, dude.
Burned you out?
It's a fucking life killer.
That's what my dad didn't want to ever do it.
That. When you own a shop, it's a fucking life killer. Like, guys that own shops know that, but...
It's a lot of work, man. You never stop. It never stops.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to all the amazing people I have here at the shop that help me keep it going, because like I couldn't do it without them, obviously. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think one thing that that keeps it always going here, and a lot of people here too that work here, is the amount of customer interactions we get, because we're unique in the aspect of, let's say, instead of just doing shop like service work or builds or projects, you don't get often engagement with customers. You know what I mean? You might get the one with the project you're working on, or it's far and few in between until it's finished or whatever. But like every day we have hundreds of interactions, people coming in, right? And the customers that we've had are here for so long. Like we have guys that have been literally coming to us to buy every part for their bikes for 20 years. So you develop these relationships with them, and it makes you feel good, and they're all super stoked. And you go out of your way to help them out, or stay open late a little bit, or above and beyond, just to get them that part, not to make the buck, but just to solve the problem for them and help them out. And how loyal and thankful they are is like really what keeps like the fire in it. You know what I mean? Keeps you going on it, because That's awesome. You go out and do 2 Sturgis, and you run into the guy that's been buying parts here forever, and he's stoked just to tell you the new shocks he bought for his bike when you told him they were going to be killer a couple months ago, and now the first time you saw him, he rode it all the way to Sturgis, and he's floored on it. It makes you feel good, you know?
Yeah.
So that always helps.
Yeah, that's definitely the coolest part, man. Like I say, you guys are building people's dreams, you know? It's not like people don't want to be here, you know? People that come here are happy to be here.
Sure.
I'm sure there's some pissed off customers, you know.
Can't make everybody happy all the time, but as long as you can, I'm happy we can go to sleep at night because we do the right thing. It's like our #1 thing that we try to do. On all of our handouts we give to all of our guys, it's like, that's in the rules. Do the right thing. You got boundaries or whatever, but you have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And if it's the right thing and it was outside of those, you can get away with it, you know. As long as you do the right thing and make it right for the person, that's all we really care about. That's why we've got a good, loyal customer base that's been with us for a long time, I think.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of that, you guys have been in business for a while, right?
Yes. This year actually marks our
landmark.
30th anniversary.
Cool.
So I haven't even really announced it yet, but this fall we'll be doing a 30th anniversary party in November sometime. I haven't locked the exact date down. There's a couple ones that we're going back and forth between, but we'll be announcing that, so everybody stay tuned on that. We'll have that all over our website and social media.
Do you think it'll be here?
Right here in the parking lot.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll get like shut a couple lanes down on Cave Creek Road, and we'll have bike shows and free food and bands and a bunch of giveaways, and get a bunch of brands out here to show all their product off. It'll be good.
Cool. Stunt show?
Don't think so. I don't have the parking lot for it. You know, one thing that's a bummer is our parking lot. It's big, but it's not very convenient in its layout, right?
Yeah.
And it's chewed up. I need to get a new one. They're just not cheap to get a parking lot, you know.
Parking lot this size would be like freaking $250,000.
It's
man.
pretty close. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just for a flat lot. You know what I mean? So right now we kind of deal with it, but it'd be just I couldn't put guys riding stunt show through that.
Yeah.
And when we get the lanes shut down, the city has to get involved. So they're up our ass pretty heavy about making sure people aren't getting too wild. And once it goes out in the street and they're taking off, I can't control nothing. But if we're sanctioning it, you know what I mean? We get jammed up. So I got to be easy with that.
Do you think they're going to give you a permit to close this whole road down?
They do for 2 lanes. I did it a couple years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, we didn't do a big party. We used to, I think, our customer appreciation day, we'd call it, and we'd do a big party. I mean, like there was, I don't even know how many people were here, but there's, 3 rows of bikes from, a quarter mile long all the way up that started wrapping around to Cave Creek Road here onto Cactus. And parking lot was full. We had huge turnout. We give like 15 to 20 grand worth of stuff away. We get all of our vendors together. They donate a bunch of stuff to us. We throw a bunch of stuff in. We get free food and just give back to the community. And all the big brands come out that we can get, and they set up kind of their displays around here. Plus some of the local guys, you know what I mean? But like that was in like, I don't know, 19 or something, right before the COVID shit hit, you know what I mean? And then they had all the bullshit where you couldn't assemble and all that. And so we didn't host one for 2 years or something like that, just because we didn't want to have, even when it died down, I didn't want to have all these brands come from out of state and then get kicked out or jammed up because some fire marshal came by and shut us down, So we'll be bringing it back soon, but I'm excited about it.
Wall of Death?
Huh? That'd be rad. I never thought of that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because that's in a closed area, right?
Parking lot, yeah.
That'd be sick. I didn't think of that. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that'd be rad if there's a Wall of Death here. Yeah, for sure.
I wonder what it takes to get those guys to come out.
I bet you I could point you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's cool. Let me know. I'd be interested to have that conversation.
Yeah, I think it just takes a check and a few days to set up,
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Wall of Death's fucking awesome, man. I love watching the Wall of Death. I can't wait. I'm going to see those guys in a couple weeks.
I don't know how those guys don't pass out, man. You get so damn dizzy. I get dizzy watching those guys.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be, like, conditioned. Some people literally can't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just too much,
I mean, to keep that much inertia to stay against the wall, they're moving.
Yeah.
And they're doing it for a long time, man. They're running around there for minutes.
Dude, and they do it like it's nothing.
Yeah, they'd hop off the bike. I'd end up sending it right into the wall afterwards, man.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It is cool. Do they? Do you participate in Arizona Bike Week at all?
I do. Yeah. What we do is we set up in Cave Creek at Cave Creek's Bike Week. It's during the same time.
Is Arizona Bike Week, right? Is that what they call it?
Yes and no. Arizona Bike Week is its own entity, you know,
Okay.
and they host that out at another location here, and they're only about 15 miles apart.
Okay.
But because of, you know, legality reasons, they have different names, right? But it's during the same time period. So we set up in Cave Creek at their Cave Creek Bike Week event, and we support Arizona Bike Week. And this year they held we held a swap meet there, which is pretty cool because we host them here at our shop every month during the good weather months here. So pretty much every month, but June, July, August, and we hosted one out there this year, and that was good. We're gonna do it again next year.
Cool.
But yeah, we set up in Cave Creek.
What does a swap meet for you guys look like? Because don't you have an Instagram page like Ramjet Parts for Sale or something like
We
that?
do. We have a part stash page, and that's just like either overstock or used stuff that we have, you know,
Right.
that we blow out. And but our swap meets, what we do is we basically open up our parking lot, and we charge $5 for a parking spot, and our customers come and set up and just sell off their parts and kind of put some money in their pocket and give other guys a good deal.
Just like a typical swap meet.
Typical, yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant like just you guys selling parts, like all the takeoffs.
No,
and
no.
stuff
We,
like
we,
that.
we have our own little stash of stuff out there, you know, every once in a while, but we really don't do it for that. That's just more, we burn up that stuff and throw the shit away when we're done, or we keep the other stuff, but we host it for everybody else mainly.
Gotcha. That'd be crazy if you had a big part stash bonfire once a month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Have you guys ever strayed from Harley Davidsons? Like, do you work on any other brands here, or just Harleys?
Well, let's say Harleys and, you know, custom American V-twins, obviously, like things like that, but we don't do like metric applications or even newer Indians like Can-Am or Polaris Indian, you know what I mean? Not Can-Am, but Polaris type Indians, the newer ones.
Okay.
But the older Indians that were Harley based, we work on.
Right. The ones that were basically Evos with 5
Pretty
speeds.
much, yeah. Or they had like the Power Plus motors and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? But we just do that because I mean we have such a slam workload to begin with. Like, for us to focus on other things instead of just doing what we're good at, you know, and having to chase down other resources we might not have, whether it's equipment or tools or whatever. 'Cause it's all nuts and bolts. But in the end, we just try to focus on Harleys and custom American V-twins that are like, you know, the aftermarket ones.
Gotcha. Getting away from that, you said you're into just like all bikes or whatever. Do you have any other cool bikes in your own stash, like Ducati Monster or?
Nothing right now,
Ever
man.
gone into the sport bike thing?
No, I like them, like especially the Ducatis, like I like those hyper motards a lot. Those are rad.
Yeah.
I had always lots of dirt bikes, you know, but I sold pretty much all of those off recently.
Okay.
Don't have much time to ride them as much anymore, and I've been injured a lot from them. So, you know, I gotta slow it down on those a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to get back into it. You know, my great time to spend with my wife and my kids to go out. She rides. My kid has some e-bikes and stuff, so
Cool.
I want to start getting back into that and getting some dirt bikes again and taking the family out.
Cool, man. Yeah, dude. Ramjet Racing might be hitting the motocross track.
Yeah, right.
With the kids.
That's the idea, man. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. Yeah, I don't know, man. Probably should have wrote some questions down, but I did 4 other fucking podcasts.
Dude, you're probably burned out. I'm just stoked you came
I'm
by.
completely burned out. I don't think I've ever said as much on any podcast as this one.
It's all good. It's after a long day of work here too, so
Oh my god.
if I'm not as exciting or whatever, I'm sorry.
No,
we were
you're
busy as hell.
definitely
We
doing better than me.
were busy in here today, so I was running around like crazy.
Do you have anything else that you might want to tell people about the shop that they might not know, like a service that you offer?
We got
some parts coming out.
We got some new parts coming out. Some I can't talk about just yet, you know. But we got some really cool stuff coming out. A new air cleaner's gonna be coming out. That got some stuff that nobody else is doing with them, so I'm excited about that. Like I said, I can't talk about all the details, but that'll be coming out. We got some new points and derby covers that are coming out that are unique, not just like your conventional 2-bolt cover with our logo on it.
Right.
Those will be hopefully available soon. And a new part that's coming out for a lot of the Dyna guys that I'll appreciate. We're making a caliper bracket like we do for our FXRs that take an 08 and later Brembo bagger, you know, caliper,
Oh, cool.
but for the 08 and later Dynas, because they're a floating. All the good brakes they come out with now, in the same year they put Brembo brakes on the baggers, they decided to go back to a fucking old floating caliper bullshit like they did with the FXRs and stuff.
Yep.
And that pin that they ride on, the bushing in them always breaks and it wallers out the caliper, and then you got to buy a whole new brake caliper every time. We're making a mount for the Dynas to run a late model bagger Brembo on them as well.
Cool.
So that'll be available soon too.
Cool. All right, one more question, and then we'll wrap it up here. If you could give yourself, your 12-year-old self, advice now, like no. If hold on, how should I word that? Like if you, you know what I'm trying, you know where I'm going with this? Like if you could give yourself advice, you're like middle school age self, let's say, some advice. Like if you could predict the future, what would it be?
Oh man.
Like what would you?
How many things do you think you did wrong and made mistakes on? Like that's such a hard answer, right? Oh man.
Is there something you would turn the wheels of time back and?
I would just say probably all kinds of damn things. You know, not too much. I'm pretty thankful, I should say, actually. You know, because there's always things you could do and do differently. But you know what? I'm fortunate. I fucked things up. I still do today, and you got to learn from them. Okay. You know, and I think every experience I've had, it put me here today, and I'm thankful for it. I'm grateful for it. You know, I've got a beautiful wife. I've got amazing kids. I've got a place I'm happy to come to work to every day, and I've got people that like to come here too. So I'm pretty thankful for it. I don't think I'd change much, actually.
Okay. Cool, man. Like
maybe do it a little sooner instead of being stubborn and like taking so much time to realize it. But that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like they say, you know, youth is wasted on the young. You know?
Sure.
You just don't appreciate what you got until you're older.
Yeah, absolutely.
But cool, man. You want to tell people where to reach you and all that other stuff?
You can get a hold of us, the shop here. Call us at 602-788-0364 anytime. We're open 7 days a week. You can hit our website at ramjetracing.com. Instagram's at Ramjet Racing, and then we're on Facebook too, which I think is just facebook.com/Ramjet.
Cool.
So you can come by anytime. We're always open. If you don't find it on our website, call us, man. You can call and you talk to people every day that actually ride motorcycles and live, eat, and sleep it. We're not just like call center behind the desk, you know what I mean? You can call and we can help you out and get you wherever you're at in the country or the world, for that matter.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty crazy what they got going on here, man. Tony, thanks so much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
I wish it was a little longer, but I appreciate you coming by after a long day doing 4 podcasts and a full day at the shop here.
I'm plenty fine ending it now.
Right on, man. Hopefully we'll do another one soon.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I don't know when I'll be back in Phoenix, but either way, see you guys next week.